Check, check. What is up, guys? What is up? All right, guys. Welcome back to the Puck Drop Week 2 NHL reaction breakdown. Look ahead to Week 3. This is the second episode of the Puck Drop, and thank you all so much for those who do end up watching this. It is always fun doing this. This is Week 2. We're growing. We're getting better as things go on. But first, if you guys are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are growing like crazy. Looking to hit 750 subscribers before Christmas, or really New Year's. So as soon as Canada is playing their World Juniors New Year's Day game, we want to be at 750 subscribers of growing an awesome hockey community together. Again, it is for everyone. Comments, chats, live streams, videos, it's all for you guys to help grow the game, help grow your guys' knowledge and answer any questions and have some fun while we're at it. We are all hockey fans at heart. We all have questions, we all have opinions, and it's fun getting that back and forth banter with you guys. So let's be sure to comment on this video and all the other videos we'll be putting out this week of these segments of today's episode. But we've got a big week to recap. A lot of stuff has happened. Injuries. We've had some changes in some standings and some teams. As you guys can see on the screen right now, I've got these standings for the league. We've got an updated power rankings. A few teams have actually dropped out of the power rankings as a few have joined and have moved around, so it'll be fun. But today's episode, we've got the full breakdown of Western Conference, Eastern Conference, as well as we've got our power rankings and then games to look out for this week and who I'm going to be taking. We're going to be having 3 games per week that we're actually going to pick. I don't know what I'm going to call this segment yet. We'll get there, whether it's going to be pick'ems or we'll get there Duster's picks for the week. We'll be picking 3 throughout the week, and we'll keep sort of a record as we go along with things. But, man, what a week of games, guys. Just crazy stuff has happened. Start of the week, some crazy games. Midweek, I mean, there have been so many comebacks this week. It's been absolutely mental. A couple big-time injuries. Landeskog being out for a while for the Colorado Avalanche. Jake Muzzin potentially out for the year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. A lot of big stuff going down when it comes to the injury front. Crazy game in Florida. Battle of Florida happened. I know Thursday night we had this stream where we watched the Penguins demolish the LA Kings 6-1. Friday night, again, crazy good games. Saturday night, didn't get a chance to watch any games as I was actually at the Penn State whiteout game. As you guys can see my attire right now, all Penn State just drove home and made it home in time to make this episode. Kraken beating the Avalanche Friday night as well, so crazy stuff there. But man, Saturday night was a fun, jam-packed weekend of NHL hockey. There are a couple good games going on right now tonight as we speak, but Boston, we were going to watch that game, Bruins and Wild, until I found out I was going to the football game. 4-3 win for the Bruins in overtime, so that would have been a fun one to watch. Blues over the Oilers. Oilers, a little bit of a struggle bus right now. Campbell can't seem to figure it out between the pipes. Senators getting another win under their belt. They're starting to get things rolling. That snowball is starting to roll downhill, as well as the other side of things, the Coyotes, the snowball's rolling down the hill the other way for them. Leafs, more W's. Again, a lot of big things. Penguins with a nice little comeback. Not really a comeback victory, but they were down 2-0 to the Blue Jackets in that one. Flyers get another win. Again, fun weekend. Canucks continue their struggles. But let's go ahead and talk about the Western Conference to start, guys. We'll start in the Pacific. And really not a lot has really totally changed in my mind. But again, a couple of games here and there. I know a big game this week. We had the Vegas Golden Knights and they played the Colorado Avalanche. That was a big game there. Ended up the Avalanche edging out the Vegas Golden Knights. But again, 2 different teams in different divisions. But it had some impact on the Pacific Division as the Calgary Flames, as you guys can see, the standings right here, still atop 4-1-0. 8 points. Calgary looks very good, man. They look so strong. Again, only +2 on the goal differential, so they need to shore some things up on the back end for themselves, which I think they will. Plus Markstrom between the pipes, the depth at defense and up front, they are looking good. Huberdeau, and actually I do want to pull up team stats as we do talk about things some more, but they're looking very good. Vegas is looking very good. Goaltending, actually, for Vegas, the biggest question mark for me for that team going into the season. They have shown up. They've showed us that, hey, they can play. Thompson has been great between the pipes. Logan Thompson playing outstanding in the games that he has played for them. So really excited to see what he can do as the season progresses, and if they can continue to get some W's, it will probably be on his back, as well as the offensive play of Eichel, Stone. You got Smith, you got Pietrangelo, you've got Whitecloud, you've got a bunch of guys up there when it comes to that. But I do want to take a look by team stats, just so we can get a more in-depth look at some teams. So let's take a look at the Calgary Flames. Again, they've played very well their past couple of games, and taking a look at their team stats right here, right now. I want skaters. There we go. This is what we want. We want Calgary Flames. Give me a second as I pull this up. Again, Nazem Kadri playing amazing hockey. 17 minutes of total ice time per game, which is pretty good stuff. Rasmus Anderson has been great. Tyler Toffoli, Jonathan Huberdeau, Marjapani, Dubé, they've been all great. And defensively, they are solid in their D zone, and that's going to prove to be a tough team to try to beat later as the year goes on. Unlike, you've got Edmonton not looking very good. Kings and Seattle are your teeter teams that could go one way or another. Some nights they look good, some nights they look bad. Again, the goal differential for this division, very bad, especially the bottom three teams, Anaheim, Vancouver, San Jose. Their defensive zone, their turnovers, everything just really isn't clicking for them right now. I know San Jose's been on an away trip. Vancouver's been away. They're just coming back home. I know Vancouver lost to the Buffalo Sabres first game at home this year. So, again, things aren't looking very good for those bottom two teams, especially Vancouver, San Jose. They could be in the fight for potential coaching changes this year, whether it's in the next 2 weeks if they still can't figure it out, or later on down the road. It's not looking good for them. Anaheim, I think they're pretty much, they're more of a project than anything else. Again, you can't really be minus 11 at this point in the year, having only played 5 games. That's just, the differential is not what you're looking for. Edmonton can't really seem to figure it out. Take a look at their team stats right now. There's a couple games they're on fire. They're looking so good, and then other games they look off. McDavid obviously doing McDavid things, 10 points. Draisaitl, 8 points, and then it kind of starts to drop off there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Hyman, Nurse, Kane. But I'm not as sold as I was at the start of the season as to how they look right now. Edmonton is just, it's really tough to pinpoint what they're doing. And let's take a look at their goalies as well. Let's take a look at their advanced stats. Campbell, he's got an 8.89. He's going to be their main goaltender all year. He's 2-2 so far. Goals against average 3.82 per game. I know Stuart Skinner, obviously he's 2 games played, no wins. He's got a 9.44, but again, that's in relief. So Campbell being their starting goaltender needs to do a little bit better, but it's not just all on him. It is on the team as well. They need to play better in front of them. And defensively, they're giving the pucks away too much, too many turnovers, guys not getting back on the back check. You've got weak side guys not moving their heads around, looking for men back door or in the slot or cutting somewhere. They're just not fully together yet. Again, it's still early. They still have a lot of time, but it's not clicking for the Oilers. I know things will get turned around for them, so I'm not too worried about them right now. Panic button, we haven't touched it yet, but we're starting to hover over it a little bit. We're about here. We're not quite over top the panic button just yet for the Edmonton Oilers, as we are still early in the season. But man, early favorites, Calgary, Vegas, they look very good. We'll definitely see them as the year goes on near the top of the standings. Now working our way to the Central Division. Man, what an absolutely great hockey game Thursday night. Dallas Stars played the Toronto Maple Leafs in Toronto. The Robinson brothers playing each other. What a crazy game that was. Dallas actually losing that one due to the Toronto Maple Leafs in overtime. What a crazy back and forth game. I know we caught pretty much the end of the third period after we finished up the Penguins game on the live stream, but man, Dallas looks very good. They look re-energized with the new coach, Pete DeBoer. A little bit more offensive freedom for both offensively and their defensive players as well. I mean, the goal differential says it all. Plus 12. They're skating. They're getting shots on target. They're crashing the net. They're throwing the body around. And they're having fun. They're having fun playing good hockey. Jake Ottinger between the pipes is playing great hockey. Robinson, Sagan, Heiskanen. Let's look at their team stats right now. I mean, they've looked extremely good so far. I've been thoroughly impressed by them, and honestly, we didn't have them in the playoffs, but might be taking a little bit of an L. But again, points are pretty well spread out. Joe Pavelski, Robinson, Hintz, Marchman, new face over from the Florida Panthers. Tyler Sagan's got 5 points in 5 games played. Heiskanen, Lundqvist, Wyatt Johnson, new kid this year for them. Again, Jamie Benn, only 2 points right now, but that leadership, he's showing a little bit more pep in his step this year, which is always nice to see. So it might not always show up on the point sheet, but he's definitely getting the job done when it comes to leading his team by example, throwing the body around, getting the boys in the locker room going. We know he's definitely one of those guys, and they're responding. Joe Pavelski, obviously having been captain for the San Jose Sharks, he knows how to get a locker room going as well, get the boys buzzing, and it shows. They're top of the division, plus 12 goal differential. They're looking good. They're on a 1-game winning streak. Now, Colorado, a little shaky here and there again, with a lot of turnover in their team and still trying to find that second-line centerman to fill in the role of Kadri, I think is still a question mark. Obviously, losing Landeskog, I think the report was 10 to 12 weeks potentially. So not the whole season, but a good portion of the season they will have to sort of teeter the waters and find a way in the ocean of what is the NHL season without him. It's going to be tough. He is your captain, so somebody else is going to have to step up. And they've got plenty of guys to fill in those shoes. McKinnon, you've got Rantanen, Makar, Taves, Comfer. You've got plenty of guys in their lineup that are going to be able to do that. But again, your captain is your captain. It's hard to replace a captain. Take a look at their team stats right now. Natushkin, 11 points in 6 games played. Rantanen 9, McKinnon 9, Makar, Byram, Lehkonen, Gerard, Taves, Evan Rodriguez, and then it sort of starts tailing off there with guys having points here and there. Let's take a look. I'm curious about goaltenders. Haven't really kept too much attention to the goaltender stats so far for them. Georgiev has played 4 games. He's 3-0, 908 with a 2.76. And then Francois, he's 0-2, 877 with a 4.10 goals against average. He's going to need to pick it up a little bit more than I think he is playing. But again, that has a lot to do with not just him. Most goaltenders in the NHL, they're there for a reason. They're good goalies. And it probably has more to do with defensive breakdowns, maybe a few softies here and there. But Georgiev, the games he has played, he has looked very, very good for the highlights that I have also seen of the Colorado Avalanche. I can't catch every single game in the NHL every week, but man, they are looking pretty good as a team. Again, still early, still need to figure it out a little bit more. They're 3-2-1, so it could be better. It honestly could be worse, but with the Avalanche and who they are, being the defending Stanley Cup champions, they're in a good spot. They'll continue to get things going in the right direction, and again, they'll have to steer the waters of the NHL season as it is a ever-changing wave. Again, they're on a downslope right now, having lost Landeskog for a little while, so people are going to have to step up. With any injury comes opportunity, and you hate to see anyone get injured, but that gives somebody an opportunity to step up and be that guy. St. Louis, 3-0, looking very good. Again, they've only played 3 games, but man, they look tough. Up front, just in-your-face hockey, plus they have the skill. Let's take a look actually at their stats as well. Haven't taken a look too deep into their stats. Again, nothing too crazy because they've only played 3 games, but Tarasenko looks good. Shen, Falk, Thomas, Buchnevich is actually looking very good in a Blues jersey. Again, he's only got 2 points in 3 games, but he's playing 18 minutes a night, hard slugging minutes. He's playing great. I think that was a great move for them, getting him over from the Rangers, and he's looked very good this year so far. Krug, Leddy, Neighbors, very good. Kyrou, a little bit quiet, a little too quiet for my liking. He is -3, so he needs to pick that up a little bit more on the defensive end of things. But man, it's hard to say anything bad about this team right now. Again, they've only played 3 games. I'm curious about the goaltending stats as well. I haven't looked at them, but let's take a look right now and see what Bennington, he's played all 3 games. He's got a 9.40 with a 1.65. I know at the start of the season and my preview video for the St. Louis Blues, I said Bennington needs to step up because Husso's gone. He's gone to Detroit. And Bennington, in the 3 games he's played, he's only let up 5 goals. Those are pretty good stats. And he's playing great hockey. Again, that also has a lot to do with their defensive structure and how they play in the D zone and quick transitions to the offense and catching teams a little bit off guard, I think. But man, St. Louis are playing great. Expect them to do bigger things and better things moving forward as the season progresses. As we sort of start going down the rest of the Western Conference in the Central Division, Chicago, Nashville, Winnipeg, I think, are sort of all lumped together with some nights they look good, some nights they look off. Again, their records are pretty... they mesh well with how they are actually playing. Again, some nights they look good. Again, Chicago 3-2-0. Those 3 wins, they've looked very good. The 2 losses have been very ugly, and the same can be said for Nashville and Winnipeg. Nashville starting the season off early in Europe and coming back home, and then, again, they've played 7 games, most in the NHL, and they're 2-4-1. Again, still trying to figure things out. Roman Josi looks good on the front end. Johansson and Duchesne need to pick it up a little bit more, I think, but they'll figure it out a little bit more. I think they'll be near the top half of the division. Winnipeg, Minnesota, Arizona, kind of all, I wouldn't really mix Minnesota and Winnipeg in with Arizona there, but they haven't played great. I think Winnipeg and Minnesota have more to give just with their team and lineups that they have, the skill that they have, the elite talent that they have, goaltending as well. Fleury hasn't been playing great at all. Neither is Hellebuck. And, Minnesota, they just, heart-wrenching stuff when they lose. It's just like, man, they don't look good. They're not clicking. And with their cap issues moving forward, they're going to have to figure out quickly. But goal differential, -13 for the Arizona Coyotes. I don't know if they've had a home game yet in Arizona, but I know they've been on a long road trip. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do moving forward. Just checking out the stream. Danny, nice to see you in. 6-3. Yes, that was a crazy one. Golden Knights are doing a good beginning of the season. Yes, they are. I completely agree with you, and thank you for tuning into the live stream. Danny, you are one of our best subscribers and team members that we have here in the Duster community. So thank you so much. So that is the Western Conference. Again, we will have more breakdowns as the season goes on. But man, right now the top teams are the top teams, and then your bottom teams, boy, they are your bottom teams for those divisions out in the West. But before we do get into the Eastern Conference preview, Eastern Conference recap, reaction, everything like that, we are going to be announcing right now our live stream watch along this Thursday. We're going to do another Thursday live stream. We're going to be watching 7 p.m. Red Wings versus the Boston Bruins, a big Atlantic Division matchup as we get ready to preview, actually, the Atlantic Division to start things off here in the Eastern Conference. But again, 7 p.m. we'll start the stream a little bit early so we can talk and get ready for the game at 6:45 Eastern Standard Time in the United States as we get ready again. 7 p.m. Boston versus Detroit. It is at Boston, so it'll be a fun, raucous crowd there for a Thursday night hockey game. Battle of two original 6 teams, so that'll be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys tune into that. We look forward to that live stream, chatting with you guys, watching the game, and having a good time. So that is my quick little plug there for the live stream. It's now time to hop in to the Eastern Conference recap reaction here, starting off in the Atlantic Division. Man, this has been busy of a division of ups and downs of really, you can say every single team in that division has had ups and downs so far this season. Boston, more ups than downs. I would say they were 5-1-0 leading the NHL in points right now. And their division, they've looked very, very good. Again, I did not give them a lot of credit at the start of the season, was very skeptical of how they would do with their injuries that they have sustained or have with Marchand and Charlie McAvoy to start the season without them. But man, oh man, they have stepped up. Swayman's been great between the pipes. Offensively, Bergeron has been getting it done. Let's actually take a look at their team stats now as we're talking about them. I think that will help back up what they are doing. Pastrnak, Krejci, the two Czech Republic players have been absolutely killing it. Bergeron, AJ Greer, a New England native, has been playing great for them. Taylor Hall, DeBrusque, Foligno, Lindholm, Zaka, Clifton. There's a bunch of guys there in that clumped in there about 5 to 3 points, which is great. So that means the team is really clicking. The chemistry is starting to mold. And man, Krejci back with the Bruins is honestly a massive difference maker. Not having him last year, a core centerman for their team, second line center, really helped out with that depth. They missed him last year, but man, it is good to have him back this year. And it is showing. He is -3, which is interesting. I don't know if he's out there for PK opportunities that they've been scored on, but man, he's looked very, very good back with the Boston Bruins. Taking a look at the goaltending, Ullmark actually leading the way 4-0. Actually, I was wrong about Swayman. 4-0 with Ullmark, 9-2-9 with a 2.23 goals against average. Very, very good stats. Swayman, only 2 games played, 1-1, 8-1-6 with a 5.40. So I was completely wrong about my first little check of the Bruins, but other than that little blunder, again, ups and downs for every team, they've looked very good. Again, very stout defensively, big defensemen, in your face, checking you, hitting you. It's hard to get anything going against them offensively as opposing teams. But, I mean, taking a look at their goal differential, they're +8. So 27-4, 19 against. Not the best in the division, as we'll talk about the team who is the best in the division when it comes to the goal differential. But Bruins are hard-nosed hockey players. Their system with Jim Montgomery and what he's doing with them, very awesome stuff to see the Bruins sort of back where they should be. Again, season's still early. It's only week 2. Things can change in the flip of a coin, drop of a hat, whatever you want to call it, but they're looking good. Boston Bruins fans should be happy with the way that they're performing, and we could see them near the top of the division / wild card race at the end of the season. So, moving on to the next team, which, man, oh man, I was completely wrong about. Not completely wrong about at the start of the season, but man, the Buffalo Sabres, they look very good. Rasmus Dahlin, holy smokes, this guy setting NHL records, first defenseman in NHL history to score four goals in the first 4 games of the season. They're getting great goaltending from old man Craig Anderson. They're getting great play from Thompson, from Alex Tuck, who's got, I believe, 4 goals on the season. Let's actually take a look at their team stats right now. They're playing amazing hockey. And again, I did mention best goal differential in the division, not in the conference, but in the division. So, man, oh man, Buffalo, the fans of Buffalo should be very happy with where their team's at. Dahlin actually leads the team 8 points. You've got then Tuck with 7, Olofsson 5, Casey Middlestat, who's really stepping up this year as a solid centerman for them, with 5 points. JJ Peterka, who's a big up-and-coming player. Look out for him. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists. Hinostroza's playing a higher elevated role than what we've seen in the past. Dylan Cousins, Tage Thompson, a little bit slower than I anticipated him to start, but he's still up there in points. He's got 3 in 5 games played. Owen Powers looked very good, solid defensively. He's a big kid. And then, again, I want to take a look at their goalies. I don't know if Anderson has played all their games, but man, Anderson, he's 2 wins, 0 losses, 9.70 with a 1.00 goals against average. That is insane. Eric Comrie has also played very good, 9.30 with a 3.01 goals against average. I'm not too concerned about the goals against, more so the save percentage. He's 2-1. Buffalo looks very good. Their defensive zone structure, not turning the puck over as much as we are used to seeing the Buffalo Sabres do in seasons past. They look like a well-oiled machine that maybe are a couple moves away from actually making the playoffs. So look for them to be pretty active around the trade deadline. Toronto, Florida, and Detroit, I'm going to be lumping them a little bit all together. Again, the games that they've won, they've looked great. The games that they've lost, really haven't. I know Toronto losing Jake Muzzin, potentially, from what I'm hearing from different sources, out for almost the rest of the season. Some have said probably going to be missing the entire rest of the season, which is a huge loss for them. Assistant captain, great defensive defenseman, can put the puck in the net here and there with some help from screens up front. But man, it's going to be tough sledding for them. They're thin on the back end as is and as already, and losing him, basically, I'd say arguably your second best defenseman behind Morgan Riley. That's going to be tough. But again, with injury comes opportunity for other guys, whoever's going to step up, fill the shoes. Again, Toronto +3 on the goal differential. So again, I've seen some games where they're just turning the puck over, creating goal chances the other way for the opposition. And then the games that they've won, they've looked great. Again, same can be said for Florida and Detroit. Again, Detroit, younger team. Again, they're 2-0-2, so they haven't lost a game in regulation yet. But you got to be winning games early, especially against competition that, let's say you're playing teams around your similar stature like Ottawa, Montreal, Islanders, Columbus, Washington, New Jersey. You got to be winning those games. And Detroit, the games they've lost, they should have been able to win, but again, being a young team, they just can't find a getaway across that finish line. And then Ottawa starting to catch their stride. They've won 3 straight after losing the first 2 to start the year. People were hitting the panic button pretty early for this team, but again, with the young crew and core that they are really starting to put together there, mixed in with a sprinkling of some veteran presence with Giroux, and you've got Shabbat, who I would say really is now a more veteran-type player. He's been in the league a pretty long time now. They're starting to get a roll on goaltending, starting to figure it out a little bit with Forsberg. So we'll see what happens with the Senators. And then you've got Tampa, they're 3-3. They just a little Jekyll and Hyde with them. They look great, and then they look flat out bad. Turning the puck over, missed defensive assignments. I know they won the other night against Florida, and that was a crazy game to watch. If you guys didn't watch it, go ahead and check out the Battle of Florida. I believe that was Friday night. The Lightning beat the Florida Panthers 3-2 in a great scrappy game. It was fun seeing Kachuk mess around there in that game. Montreal, again, they're a scrappy team, 3-3. I still expect to see them at the bottom of that division pretty much all year long, but I'd say their expectations are a little bit lower than most teams, but they've played well so far. Just checking in. Again, thank you all so much for watching. What teams do you consider the best in the divisions? Again, I'd say really the teams who are the best in their divisions right now are the ones near the top of the division, and that goes for really any sports of what are the best teams. Again, typically the teams near the top of the division are going to be your best. But moving now over to the Metro, which honestly I'm pretty surprised with how it is starting to shape up early this season. Pittsburgh, absolutely stellar performance the other night against the Kings that we watched, 6-1 final there, and then a technically comeback victory against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They were down 2-0 after one, ended up being a score fest. They won 6-3 in that game. They've got the best goal differential in the entire NHL, +15. Jari is playing great. Casey DeSmith, I don't know if he played against Columbus or not, but the goaltending, they're starting to figure out. The defense looks very solid back there with Letang, Dumoulin. You've got Jeff Petrie. You've got Joseph, who's also been playing great. Pedersen has been playing great on the front end. Your top 2 lines, really the depth of their forwards have all been playing great with Crosby, Gensel, and Raquel, the new first line. Second line, you've got Zucker, Malkin, Rust. Third line, you're looking at Carter, Heinen, and Kapanen, who are playing great. I know Teddy Bluger is about to come back. I don't know if he actually did play against Columbus or not, but man, Penguins are buzzing, and anytime you get a team with the top 3 guys that they have, Letang, Malkin, Crosby, buzzing at their age, look out, they can get on a roll because they've got the experience, they've got the know-how, they know how to go throughout a long season and how to prepare, which the younger guys on that team will look at and learn from, and again, they're just coming together. The team looks good. They've looked more solid than they've had done so in the past couple of seasons. So as long as they can stay healthy, no bad injuries to their top core players, look out for the Penguins being a tough team, a tough game to play for any team that plays them this year. Philly, the biggest surprise so far this season. I thought they were going to be awful, absolutely awful, but they've proved everybody wrong, I think. Everyone thought that, Flyers stink. Maybe some Flyers reporters and such have actually thought that they would do well this year, but man, Flyers 4-1-0, 8 points second in the division above Carolina and the Rangers, who I think are kind of lumped together in, man, they both look very good with their top players playing great. Svechnikov really popping off, Panarin popping off. Panarin leads the league in points. They look very, very good. I want to take a look at the Flyers stats right now. I haven't looked too deep. Kevin Hayes, Konechny, James Van Riemsdyk, Tony DeAngelo, Ian Provorov, Morgan Frost. Again, they're playing great hockey, but more importantly, between the pipes for the Flyers is what I really want to highlight about Philadelphia, and that is Carter Hart. He's played 4 games, he's won all 4 games, and he's got a .949 save percentage with a .175 goals against average. Carter Hart, along with their defensive structure that they have in their D zone, I think due to the fact that John Tortorella is more of a in-your-face defensive style type of coach who typically doesn't give up a lot of goals, is really helping out this Flyers team. Yes, they might not have the most skill looking on paper. Again, they do have some pretty elite players in Konechny, D'Angelo. Even Kevin Hayes is up there for a scrappy, skilled power forward. Again, they don't even have Logan Couture in their lineup. He's still injured. But with a lineup that isn't as deep with superstar talent as you would expect with, let's say, Colorado or Calgary or Pittsburgh or Rangers, they're playing great hockey. Again, it starts in the D zone and works its way out, and that's where they are strong this year. I think that's why really they are near the top of the division, is because of their D zone. Again, goal differential 17-11, so +6. Again, in their favor. Season is still long. I think they'll continue to find ways to perform well and get the job done. They could sneak in as a wild card team, so look out for them. Carolina, New York, they've played great hockey. Again, the games that they've lost, really they deserve to lose. But the games that they've won, man, they're blowing teams out. They're looking good. Puck movements on point, scrappy, good in the D zone. Again, their goal differential is in the plus, so that's always good if you are a team with playoff aspirations, especially early in the season. Your blueprint is going to be laid pretty early, and things look good for both of these teams. Goaltending, obviously not a question for either of these teams. Anderson and Shesterkin, respectively, they're starting goaltenders for each of those two teams, playing very good hockey recently. Their top 2 lines for both teams playing great offensively, and even more importantly, back-checking, playing solid D-zone hockey. So look out for those teams. They will continue to be near the top of the division. And then it sort of starts to tail off there. New Jersey, again, they're like a Toronto right now. They look good the games they win, and then the games that they lose, they just like, what are you guys doing? You're giving the puck away. You're not watching your weak side men. You're not really communicating. The passing is just like, what are you doing? It's like, it's so off and on with the New Jersey Devils, so it'll be interesting to see if they can put things together as the season goes on. Washington, man, they're interesting. Ovechkin, again, he looks great, but my concern is, again, they also lost Connor Brown to injury. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but again, they don't have Backstrom. They now don't have Connor Brown. They don't have Wilson. They don't have Hagelin. Injuries keep piling up, and they are an older team. And I don't know if their young guys, such as like Connor McMichael, are ready to step up and fill those roles as like second-line players. It's just not going to help their case moving forward and trying to make the playoffs this upcoming season. So look out for them this upcoming week to see if they can string a couple wins here together. I know New Jersey's on a 3-game winning streak. Capitals did win their last game, but it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue to try to keep things together while guys get healthy and back into the lineup, or if they're going to fall apart early in the season and have a lot of catch-up work to do in the spring, which, again, that's always hard to do because other teams have pretty much already solidified their places in the standings by that time. So we'll have to wait and see if the Washington Capitals can stay afloat for now or if they will sink this NHL season. Islanders, Columbus, they don't look good. The games that they've won, they did look good, but they're just young, D-zone, not looking very good. Too many mistakes. I mean, goal differential, actually, the Islanders are +2, but the Columbus Blue Jackets -9. They had the Penguins right where they wanted them at home, and they just couldn't find a way to put it away. Again, Pittsburgh being an elite team, one of my picks to potentially make it to the Stanley Cup final this year. But Columbus, again, young team, still have a lot to figure out. Goaltending's kind of been of a question mark this year with Tarasov and Merzlikins at this point right now. So we'll have to wait and see on them. I'm not going to hold my breath on the Columbus Blue Jackets. I expect them to be at least the bottom or the second worst team in the division as the season goes on. Checking some comments. Danny, just checking up on you, my friend. Thank you so much for being the live stream watcher. Defeat 5-1 Rangers. Yes, that is interesting. I did notice that tonight that the Blue Jackets are beating up on the Rangers tonight. But those are our conference breakdowns. I know we still have some time in this episode. It might be a little bit of a quicker episode tonight. as I wasn't able to watch as many games as I did last week, but we're still well in the know of what is going on in the league. But we've got the power rankings right now. Last week, I'm just going to go a quick little rundown last week from 10 to 1. So we had we'll go 1 down all the way to 10. So Flames were 1, Avs were 2, Canes 3, Vegas 4, Bruins 5, Stars 6, Pens 7, Rangers 8, Red Wings 9, and the Blues were 10th. And we'll start with 10 and work our way up here when it comes to the power rankings for this week. And at number 10, sneaking in for the first time in the power rankings, are the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, with their recent form of play, again, they did win their last game, but they've looked very good in the defensive zone. They're a pesky team. Again, with not the most skilled players, still waiting for Couture to get back into the lineup. Look out for the Flyers as the season goes on. We've got them sneaking into the top 10 for my power rankings, as the team that I feel like they bumped out were the Detroit Red Wings. I think the Red Wings took a little bit of a step back this week, and the Flyers just proving that, hey, even though they don't have the skill, they have the will. And it's not always about how skilled you are. It's about how you can execute, how you can perform in the D zone. And they're getting it done under John Tortorella. So that's why we've got them at number 10, squeaking in this week into the power rankings. At number 9, we've got a team that was in the power rankings last week, but have slid down a little bit. And that is the Vegas Golden Knights. I know they had a couple of tough games. They did play the Colorado Avalanche, and they did lose that game. But again, I'm not as concerned with them dropping as much as I would think. Again, they aren't technically second in their division. I just feel like there have been some teams that have looked a little bit better than them so far that will crack a little bit higher in the power rankings. Again, Vegas have looked pretty strong. Taking a look at their team stats right now, just to let you know, again, I'm still pretty confident in the Golden Knights. At Eichel, 7 points. Marcia Show, 6. Stevenson, 5. Mark Stone with 5. Pietrangelo, Carlson, Theodore, Riley Smith. Sort of goes on from there. And the goaltending they are getting right now from Logan Thompson. So, again, just with the way their performances this week, that is why I've had them drop. But I will expect to see them in and out of the top 10 this year. But if they continue to play well, we'll see them in it more often than not. So we've got the Vegas Golden Knights in there at 9. Right above them, and actually a big drop. So Vegas went from 4 to 9. A bigger drop here. We've got the Colorado Avalanche going from the number 2 team last week all the way down to number 8. And again, you might be like, what's up for the big drop? Well, obviously sliding in at second in their division. They're 3-2-1. I think some of those games, they just did not look very good. Just kind of running around in their own zone. The loss of Landeskog has a little bit to do with my thought process on the Colorado Avalanche and maybe foreseeing some things going on this week. Again, only a +3 goal differential, whereas the Dallas Stars were looking at a +12. So the disparity there between them and the Stars offensively, I think, is another red flag for me when it comes to the Colorado Avalanche. Again, need to shore some things up in their D zone a little bit more than most teams, I think, that are a top echelon elite team in the NHL. I mean, they won the Stanley Cup, and I expect to see them near the top of the division. But again, a lot of that will have to do on who actually does step up for the Colorado Avalanche in the absence of Gabriel Landeskog, who was out last year, so who knows, maybe I'm overreacting to losing Landeskog for a little while, but that's why we've got the Avs down from number 2 to number 8. So a little bit of a drop, but we might see them go up or down depending on how well they play. Coming in at number 7, they were in the top 10 last week, and they have moved up. We've got the St. Louis Blues. I know last week they only had 1 game played, and I think might have been an overreaction of, man, they look really good after 1 game. But I think after this second week, they've proved that, okay, yep, they're a top team in the NHL. And I know we've already looked at their standings and stats right now, but +6, very solid defensive team. Bennington only letting up 5 goals in 3 games. I think a question mark for me for them is, again, even though they've only played 3 games, they need some more goals. Up front, we need Tarasenko to score some more. Kyrou needs to step up more. I believe he only has 3 points in 3 games. I know you might be like, man, that's a point a game. an all-star, somebody who just got a big contract, needs to be playing a little bit more, a little bit better offensively if he is going to be considered a superstar talent like a Tarasenko on his team. Krug, Falk, Parenko, they need to step it up a little bit more offensively, help out. Maybe their power play needs to click a little bit more. But defensively, I'm not worried about this team whatsoever, and I think that's why I have them a little bit higher than last week and higher than obviously the teams that we've already named on our power ranking top 10, is that defensively, man, they look very tough, and the goaltending, Bennington, looks so good. So that's why we've got the Blues at number 7. Another team cracking the top 10, or they were on the top 10 last week, but they have dropped a little bit from number 3 last week. We've got the Carolina Hurricanes coming in at number 6. I know the other night they had a big win, and then they ended up losing to Calgary 3-2, hard-fought game, but they beat up on the Edmonton Oilers. Svechnikov with a hat trick that game. Offensively, I'm not as worried about that team as I am. So it's almost like the reverse effect with the Canes and the Blues. Offensively, I feel pretty confident about the Carolina Hurricanes, but defensively, that's where I start to get my question marks again. Svechnikov, Aho, Nicias, Burns, Jarvis, Martinook, they're all playing great hockey. But defensively, that's where I start to question the Carolina Hurricanes. They do have a +5, but again, 17 goals, 12 against. The games that they have lost, they're kind of running around. They've only lost one in regulation, one in OT, so really they could be 4-1. But I think more depth scoring could be a big help for them to move up these rankings. Again, they are number 6, so they are still pretty high in the top 10, but defensively, I think they need to shore some things up in the D zone. Goaltending's been pretty solid from Anderson, but I think shore some things up in the D zone with their depth defensive lines or defensive pairings, and I think we might see them bump up a little bit more, considering that they have a couple games this week. See if they can get things going. Maybe they'll be, 5-2-1 by next week, or let's say they go there by end of next week, 4-3-1. It could be a different story. So we'll have to wait and see how they do this upcoming week. But we've got them at number 6, cracking the top 5. They were at number 6 last week, but they are in my top 5 this week. The Dallas Stars, man, they looked good. I know they did lose to the Toronto Maple Leafs in overtime, but they're 4-0-1. That is their only loss on the season, and it is a overtime loss. Goaltending has been great. Jake Ottinger, we already talked about their stats. Pavelski, Robinson, Rupo Hintz, Heiskanen, Tyler Sagan's getting involved this year. They are clicking on all cylinders right now, offensively, defensively. They could be a little bit higher if they won. I think if they won that game against the Leafs, they could be 1 or 2 on my list this week. But having lost that game, again, it was kind of a back and forth game. The Robinson brothers playing each other, I think, had a lot to do with it. +12, maybe they should be higher, but I am a little bit higher on the other teams on this list. But that's why we've got the Stars at number 5. Moving on now to number 4. Again, top 4 teams. It was a little tough for me this week, just given the fact that teams are in and out and playing good hockey. But this team, they went from not being ranked, I'd say more so being just out of my top 10 last week, to being ranked pretty highly on my list if I can find them in here. I haven't actually clicked on them once this year. We'll go with this logo. We've got the Buffalo Sabres, guys. Buffalo Sabres at number 4. They have looked very good. Again, I know we talked about their stats, and Craig Anderson is playing out of his mind for his age. I believe it was a 9.65 with a 1.00 goals against average. They are playing very good hockey. Let's actually swap that out. We'll get the regular logo right there for them. Again, amazing hockey, second in their division, 4-1-0. Rasmus Dahlin, one of the stories so far this season. He's been playing out of his mind. Alex Tuch has been playing great. Honestly, ever since coming over from the Vegas Golden Knights, Tuch having been from Syracuse, now playing at Buffalo, so upstate New York kid, basically playing at home. Casey Middlestat stepping up. Olofsson stepping up. They're all playing great hockey, defensively and offensively. Neutral zone trap, forecheck. They're hitting. The heads are on a swivel in the D zone. Again, you're getting the goaltending, you're getting the scoring. Again, Buffalo's looking very good, clicking on all cylinders. They did have the one loss, but they've won 3 straight. So we've got them at number 4. They could be moving up as the season goes on. But again, they could be moving down. The top 10 power rankings are what I think they are. Everyone has their own opinion, and you are all entitled to that opinion. But moving on to number 3, they moved up. They were 7 last week. They are number 3 this week, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Man, they are firing on all cylinders. The top offensive team in the league this year so far, plus 15 goal differential, 26 goals for. So they don't have the most goals, but they have the best goal differential, which I find to be more important than goals actually scored. They are firing, man. We didn't take a look at their stats earlier, but let's take a look at their stats now. It's not just the top dogs, it's by committee. You obviously Crosby 10 points, but then it drops off. But then you've got a massive group of guys there with 6 points, 5 points, 4 points, 3 points. Heinen, Gensel, Malkin, Rust, Zucker, Pettersson, Letang, Ruda, Joseph, Raquel, I think is one that needs to pick it up a little bit more, playing line 1 minutes, but they are getting it done by committee. They're playing great defensively, which depth defensively has been a struggle for them in the past couple of seasons. It hasn't looked like that this year so far. Again, injuries could have an impact on that here moving forward. But man, Pittsburgh has looked great. Gensel's looked good. Crosby's looked amazing. Even Malkin. Malkin is looking like he has a pep in his step this year. Offensively, their power plays clicking. Neutral zone, chip and chase, throwing the body around. I mean, Pittsburgh, obviously we know they can come back. They beat the Blue Jackets 6-3. Again, crazy stuff coming out of Pittsburgh. Again, look for them to continue their momentum as long as they can stay healthy with some of their top dogs being a little bit older. If they get injured, we could see some issues, but getting it done by committee, that's why we've got them at number 3, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, my top 2 was a tough decision. This team was number 1 last week. They're down to number 2 this week. The Calgary Flames, again, almost like the Penguins when it comes to the way that they're playing, getting it done by committee, looking very solid. They're 4-1-0. They've played some good games. They've beaten some top teams, or at least in my mind, some top teams. Avalanche, they've beat the Oilers. So they're beating teams in the West that are going to be up there this season. So if they can beat them, we know that they'll probably be able to handle like your Nashvilles, your Minnesotas, your Arizonas, your Vancouvers, your San Jose's, your lower teams in the league. Getting it done up there in the North. I know I talked about their stats earlier. We don't need to go into that again. Getting it done by committee like the Penguins, playing solid defensively. Goaltending isn't an issue. You've got Markstrom playing great between the pipes. A couple turnovers here and there, I think, as their goal differential is only +2, so I think they need to step it up in that department and some defensive breakdowns, but getting some more goals, I think, is a top priority for them. Some guys maybe stepping up. I think, not Marcia Show. I always get him confused with Jonathan Huberdeau, who they just got. He needs to step it up a little bit more. I know, new surrounding. He is the captain now, so we'll have to wait and see if he can step it up this week and turn things around for his individual play. But team play, Calgary Flames look good. We've got them at number 2. Now, my top team this week is not really out of the blue. They were in the top 10 last week. They were in the top 5. But, man, with the week and the play that they've had recently, we've got them bumped up to number 1, and that is the Boston Bruins, man. We were down on them. We didn't give them a chance. I don't even think I called for them to even make the playoffs, and they are proving, not probably only me, but a lot of people wrong this year. Again, great play of form with, again, Marchand and a few other players out. They've looked extremely good. Pasternak, Bergeron, DeBrusk, Taylor Hall. Again, the list goes on and on and on. And Allmark playing great hockey between the pipes. Boston is firing on all cylinders. D-zone, they look good. Offensively, they look good. Neutral zone, they are hard to get in the zone on. You can dump and chase on them, but their D are big, solid guys that they're not afraid to take a hit. They'll break out cleanly against you. They're very disciplined in their own zone, which makes it very tough to beat a hockey team when they're like that. They are +8 goal differential. They've scored 27 goals this year. They're going to be a tough team to play against, whether you're at home against them or you're on the road in Boston, which was even harder. And we'll be watching that game Thursday night, Detroit versus Boston. That'll be a fun one to watch. But we've got Boston at number 1, all-around play, very solid, very tough. those are our top 10 rankings, starting from 10 all the way up. Flyers, Golden Knights, Avalanche, Blues, Canes, Stars, Sabres, Penguins, Flames, and the bad boy Bruins. Top 10 power rankings. Let me know down below in the comments, or if you're in the live stream right now, if you would change anything with that. Who should be in? Who shouldn't even be on that board? Should there be somebody else? I'm just checking. Ultra power offensively. Let me know in the comments what you guys think on if this top 10 is way off, or if I'm kind of partially right, or more of a breakdown. I know the Rangers I did take off the list. They fell out. The Red Wings fell out, and those were the only two teams that did fall out of the top 10 power rankings. But I know we're coming close to the end of the stream, guys. I know this has been a fun one. Not as much information or in-depth analysis this week. I know it was a little bit tougher to try to watch some games just with work and everything going on, but I have been trying to catch up on some highlights and being able to sort of know exactly what's going on. I know when it comes to stats, it also does help a lot. You can really tell when teams are playing well and when they're not, and I have been able to see a lot of the highlights and being able to tell, okay, teams giving the puck, turning the puck over. You can tell when there's momentum on certain sides of the ice, but we'll try a little bit better this upcoming week to be more in-depth knowledge of more teams and specifically what's going on with them, not more so general stuff as it was this week. But I at least know sort of what's going on almost with every team. Again, you can obviously know, and I've seen it in San Jose, Vancouver the other night in overtime. They had a chance to win one, and they blew it, and you could just tell. It was against the Minnesota Wild, and you can tell the looks on their faces. It's a distraught team right now, and that's not really hard, having been a hockey player, to decipher. When you see that dead stare off after an OT loss, you just know that a team is going through it. Again, you never want coaching changes this early, but there are some teams out there, and case in point, Vancouver could be changing their coach again. San Jose, I don't think Quinn is going to be staying around. They are in rebuild mode. Honestly, maybe Arizona, possibly. Definitely not Montreal. Maybe Washington, potentially, if they have a bad week this week, maybe hot seat territory for their coach, but we'll have to wait and see as the week goes on. I'm excited. We'll take a look. I'll give you guys my top 3 games for the week and what my predictions will be. So we'll keep the tally this week. So early this week, so tomorrow night, I was looking at the breakdown of some games, and honestly, I was looking it over, and the Dallas-Ottawa game really intrigued me. Both teams kind of on a high right now, but I'm going to take Dallas in that one. We're going to say 4-2 against Ottawa. Get that done there. Tuesday night, there were a couple games, and honestly, I do want to predict one, and that is Colorado-New York. That is a massive game. Colorado going to MSG, considering the fact that the Rangers lost tonight to the Blue Jackets, or are losing to the Blue Jackets. Expect the Rangers to have a bounce-back performance, and actually, scrolling up to the top, they lost 5-1 to the Blue Jackets. So I expect the Rangers to come out buzzing. I predict a 3-2 overtime victory for the Rangers against the Colorado Avalanche. And then Thursday night, we'll save my prediction for that game for the Detroit-Boston, since we will be watching that one. But we are going to go with the, I don't want to give a muffin game, but we'll go St. Louis-Nashville. St. Louis will continue their winning ways, get it done against Nashville. We're going to say 5-2 against the Predators, 8 p.m. on ESPN. So those are our picks for this week. We've got St. Louis over Nashville. We've got Rangers over Colorado. And then Monday night, we've got the Dallas Stars over the Ottawa Senators. So we'll keep tally week to week on that specifically. Again, don't know what this segment will be called, but we are coming to a close for this episode here today. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys all so much for sticking with the channel and watching. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys want to talk hockey, watch my videos in the first place. It really does mean the world. I make these videos for fun. I love hockey. It's one of my passions and loves in life, and I just want to share that with you guys and help grow the game, grow knowledge of the game, and you guys are great. Danny, I know you are watching right now. Thank you so much. A lot of other people typically hop in the live streams that I could go on and on about thanking, but to all you new viewers out there, if you guys want to join the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are growing like crazy. Over the past month and a half, we've almost got about 100 subscribers worth of new people to the channel, the Duster community, as I refer to you guys, and I can't thank you guys enough for the love and support. Drop a like on this video if you guys have enjoyed it. Again, we will have these segment videos coming out in the next couple of days. I know YouTube takes a little while to render the actual live stream before I can then chop it up and send it out to you guys for videos. So it'll either be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday will be some videos, and then live stream on Thursday. And then Friday, Saturday might be some dead days, or I might throw something in there for you guys, or maybe a little recap of some games, or depending on the rendering, it might be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then the live stream, and then Friday, Saturday. We'll try to have something for you guys as well. But that's the look ahead for this week. I'm really excited about the live stream on Thursday. Again, I'll make sure to get some of these segment videos out to you guys. So the Western Conference, Eastern Conference power rankings, as well as my picks for the week, we will make those into videos for you guys. So be on the lookout for those. If you don't have a chance to check out the live streams, just know that I will have these segments of each video out during the week. So if you missed the live stream, if you want to go back and watch the whole thing, that's great. If not, we will have these segment videos for you guys. Again, Danny, thank you so much. I see your top 3. Okay, awesome. Thanks for the live. Have a nice night. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Danny. You are awesome. Really do appreciate you. I will typically with these live streams, I do comment afterwards, but thank you so much. I have been checking in and out all night. But that's going to be it for the live stream, guys. That is it for the Puck Drop Episode 2 reaction to NHL Week 2. We will see you guys next Sunday night for this video. We will see you guys actually Thursday for the live stream watch along of the Boston Bruins versus the Detroit Red Wings in Boston, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We will see you guys then, but I hope you guys have a good one, and as always, stay dusty.